Hi, I'm Andrew Armstrong and welcome to the back office teardown lab. Look at this little curio, this little cutie pie. If you recall, this is my sort of diversion away from my project continuing making this and coding these things. We are looking at some ancient projects that I'd probably done about 14 years ago or so. And these are automotive projects mainly. And this one, can you guess what it is? We'll zoom in. Looks like, of course, an LED bar graph, and there's a pic here. I'm just going to turn it. It's a 16F818. 16F818. That sounds mighty fine. And remember, I kind of got pics as samples, so a lot of my projects use variants of pics, but because pics are so similar in most of their basic functionality, you can pretty much interchange most for most, which is great because the same programmer, same everything, same pinouts in most cases. So let's work out what we can see just from the surface. Clearly we've got capacitor and resistors. So one pair of these resistors and capacitors is going to be the timing circuit for this bad boy. So that's where it's drawing its oscillator. We've got here the L7805 5-volt voltage regulator. So this was, again, automotive project. You can see the wires we've gone through this hole. So it would be deriving a 5-volt power supply from the 12-volt source. Now, it's not on Veriboard. I can see that very clearly. And the question is, what technology did I use to make this board? Because I did use to draw my own PCBs, and then later, more advanced ones, I milled them out and then tinned them. Very fancy me. So we're going to flip this over and see what we can see. So just first guess though, I reckon it could be a rev counter. But let's turn it over. Ooh, misses. I wasn't really expecting that, but yes indeed, that was a milled PCB made, believe it or not, with my own homemade CNC mill. That's crazy. Yes, cool. And look at that, beautifully tinned, beautiful tin. Yeah, this thing here is a pressure sensor, and you can see I've chopped off all the legs I haven't needed, and it's got an opening on one side, an opening on the other, and it's basically got like a little piezo or something drum that measures actual real world pressure in bar. So this would have been effectively a manifold pressure, or whatever pressure you want in a vehicle sensor. So this would have been detecting your turbo boost or something like that. But you can see there's two more wires here, a blue wire and a green wire. And what I conclude from that is I probably dual purpose this circuit to be both a rev counter and a pressure gauge. But not only that, I've got to zoom in. It's so cool to see this. I always used to be quite forward thinking in my designs. If you imagine this bent out of the way, you can see here just under there, you see all those pads with holes in them? There's a few here, there's a few here. These are all pads that I would have kept here for future use. So this was basically a dev board. I've made a dev board here, and I wasn't sure what I'd end up totally doing with it, but I knew whatever project involved display. So if this is, imagine in a car, this would have been when you would have normal analog dash gauges. I was obviously creating a generic digital gauge module, so that you'd have lots of different things. So you'd need maybe speed, oil pressure, air temperature, all these different things. So various sensors would have been attached. But here I would have had revs and manifold pressure, and it would have just flipped between the two in operation. So it just have showed one, showed the other. Now I've not really been successful when I apply power to these early projects because I kind of forget. I'm going to just trim this wire. I kind of forget what the pinouts were, and I might damage them. And I kind of tried to do a rev counter on the last video, and I didn't get that working. I didn't pursue it too much, but I kind of think it's sad for something to sort of survive a decade and a half only to me destroy it ham-fistedly because I was rushing to do it in a video. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to try it with 5 volts. This one though is quite good because it's the wire colours and things are clearly marked. I don't think we can get it wrong. Now, knowing me, I would have had it do a test when it comes on, so it should do something. 3, 2, 1. Ah, look at that bad boy go! Woohoo! and then are they off? Yeah. LEDs on. Oh, do you see how they actually creep up though? Dring. Dring. Oh, how cool is that? There's something a bit special about having something work that's been in the box basically for so long, and it's gone through so many house moves and all of this. Basically a dead project. Now what I've got here, I don't know what I would have last used for this, so I'm saying it's dual purpose, but it may well have just been hard coded to one function or another. But I did actually happen to have a bit of this tube, as you can see there, and just in case the pressure sensor is hooked up, I'm gonna, doesn't seem to do anything. No blowing, no sucking. Oh well. We're not going to be able to emulate a decent amount of revs by touching those other two wires together, so I guess that's about as much as we can test of it right now. It would have been cute though to sort of go in, what I could technically do, and I'm not going to, is I could basically reprogram this, work out the circuit and reprogram it. But while we're here though, it doesn't hurt to have a little look, imagine how the circuit goes. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Am I get that right? 8. Yes, 8 LEDs. And it's tedious drawing LEDs actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Imagine that. I wonder if I was going to say, I wonder if I still have the CAD for these. If I sort of dig through all my old hard disks, and I'm kind of laughing. I'm just going to show you something. I've been opening up old hard disks to mess around with them, so chances are I've already blitzed my data on these. But yeah, the idea is you basically have all these and they're going into your PIC here, and that's going to have the power rail, and the PIC's going to be like the negative on this. You can see there's no resistors here, so it's pulsing them very quickly so you don't overload the PIC so they can draw too much current and blow everything up. That was the kind of dangerous way I rolled back in the day. And looking at this, you have the pressure sensor, which I think is 3 wires. I think it might be basically a plus and a minus, and then a varying output, a varying output according to voltage according to the pressure, and that would have just gone into an analog input. And then these other 2 wires, which are just, they look like, yeah, it's going to like a pull up basically. I think it's basically, how am I going to draw this? There's a resistor going to the positive rail, and we're attaching this here, and this is going to be onto your some sort of sensor switch. It could be revs, it could be a Hall sensor, it might well be a Hall sensor. Some of these I did use for measuring shaft rotation. So this would just pulse, and then that would just illuminate based on that, and that's it. So the PIC just basically would do brrr, brrr, like you saw. Absolutely fantastic, and that's a very cute find. Very nice technology there. Milled copper clad PCB, and then that's dipped in a special solution that tins it. That's why it's got that nice silvery finish, and clearly designed to fit in a lid. That would have looked ever so handsome on the dashboard of my, one of my kit car Land Rover or something like that. I hope that's been of some interest to you. Not maybe so much use, but just some inspiration of some of the stuff you can get up to. Please comment down below, click like, share and subscribe if you're that way inclined. And as ever, thank you for watching.